Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I am proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. Okay, so, I'm so busy and stuff. It's so difficult for me to make these videos, and so this is kind of one of these things that's like, I kind of want you to see how it's like I'm scatterbrained, right, with all this stuff in my head and stuff, right? And then it's like, okay, I know about that, and it's like, I want to make a video off of that. I want to make a video off of this one thing that I heard. And then, but the problem is I have to go back and search for it. And now it's like, well, where exactly is it, right? Where was that one piece? And so, like, the piece I thought I was looking for, I thought it was in, this is Stephanie Mills, and she's doing an interview on the DJ Vlad TV. It's not Vlad interviewing her, it's somebody else and stuff, right? But she's doing an interview right now. And obviously, Michael Jackson is a big topic of the conversation, right? So I've been watching these videos that are coming out on her right now, and then because of that, I started watching some other videos about her and Michael, right? And then so somewhere in there, I had heard her say something, and I was like, I want to make a video off of that, right? And then so I was like, okay, let me go search for it. And then so like I watched like this first part here this is like 15 minutes, right? So this is 15 minutes. I'm looking for the part, and the first part here is 15 minutes. It's not in here. So it's like, this is the kind of stuff that really frustrates me, right? And things I have to do with him, and these other pieces of stuff I'm looking for that I've seen, but they're not so easy to find. Other parts, I'm going to show you this part too. So it's like, this video, it's like, I got some good little pieces, I put it together, but it's just like, I just want to stress how busy I am, how difficult it is for me to make videos. And, but so some of the things, it's like, I'll just explain to you. And it's like, people just need to give me the benefit of the doubt that when I say something, like, I have seen this, okay? So, but I wasn't able, in this quick thing, it's like, okay, I could have kept searching for it. I have other places I know I could have searched for it, but at the time of what it would take me to go searching for it, then that would negate my ability to be able to make the video, right? So let me go ahead and get into this. Okay, so first of all, because I was rewatching this, I remembered, okay, there's this other thing that she said in here too that I stumbled on, again, because I was rewatching it. It's like, okay, well, let me go ahead and play this part too. Now, this is not the initial part I was looking for. This is just another piece, right? So like I said, I have to explain this stuff too, which takes time. So this is not the initial thing that I was looking for, but this was another thing that came up in the video, and so I wanted to go ahead and show this, and I want to show you this too, because I want to show you that I'm not hiding from these kind of things, because this also is a piece of information that goes to validate Michael being born in the Jackson family, okay? And him having the talent and the rest of them not having talent. This also kind of is a piece of evidence to support that. So I want to show you that I'm not hiding from these kind of things that are out there, but I want you to see how the context of this little piece comes up. And I want you to see too when she says yeah, we're all brothers and sisters. We all got the same parents, but she's shaking her head no. These are like these subtleties that take place, and it's like, but she's shaking her head no, but she's saying yes. It's like little things like that a lot of people are not even looking at, that I'm looking at. And I'm looking at her eyes to see, are they going up to the up and the right, or are they going up to the up and the left? Like things like that I'm looking for. All these little subtleties of where you can spot if somebody's telling the truth, or if they're manufacturing a story, or are they digging for truths of a story that is true, but then they're going to use that to relate to cover up for some other story. So you have to really be able to understand how people actually are and what they're actually doing. And I have abilities to be able to recognize this stuff, and that's part of what it. So let's go ahead and listen to this part here.
Do you have, and by the way, I should have asked you this earlier. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have, yes. There were 6 of us. There were 3 girls and 3 boys. I had a brother that passed away about 5-10 years ago. So there's 5 of us left.
Did anybody else get in the business, and can everybody sing like you?
No. None of them can sing, and none of them really got in the business. No.
Hold on. So you're telling me 5 siblings, it's 6 of y'all all together, and you were the only one blessed with that voice?
Yep, I was the only one.
Same parents?
Same parents.
See how she's shaking her head no?
The same parents. I was the only one blessed.
I gotta ask. Sometimes it be mama that had to
right.
be kids
No,
with
it's the
somebody,
same parents.
dad.
We all came from the same papa and mama.
Okay, so see what happens is like, so he right there, he asks her on the spot. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Now, she's saying she's got 5 other siblings, but she's the only one with the talent and stuff, right? Like I said, that kind of part, if you wanted to highlight just that part, then you could use that to endorse the Michael Jackson having all the superior talent over the Jacksons, right? And so, like I said, I'm not hiding from this kind of stuff. Things like that, maybe it's possible it occurred, or maybe it's possible that she's not. Maybe, and like, this is like the joke I had made with Joey the Moonwalker thing, telling him about how he came into the world, how his mom probably got pregnant, and that she went looking for some guy that could take care of her. She finds a guy, and then they have Joey, but then Joey doesn't even know that he's not actually the child of her father, that the mother, stuff like that, right? That these are, and then they have a bunch of other siblings, and then Joey would think that those are actually his brothers and sisters, but he wouldn't know that if they're the oldest child, which I don't know if he's the oldest child, I'm just using this as an example, but he wouldn't know that actually his father was somebody different, and then his mother just married this other guy because she needed to be financially supported because she was pregnant, and then they have the kid, and they tell the kid, and this is what actually happened to Diana Ross with her first known child, Rhonda Ross Gordy, that Berry Gordy was the father, but they told Rhonda that the Silberstein guy, that he was her father, and she didn't learn till that Berry Gordy was her actual father. She didn't learn that she was not the child of the Silberstein till she was like 12, 13. I mean, that happened directly right there that Diana Ross did it to the other kid. And it's like, that's what I'm saying, there's like so much stuff. And so then the guy here instantly is like saying, okay, well, are you sure that that's your mom and dad, that all you guys are actually all brothers and sisters? Because he's like saying this is so common, and it would happen it happened in these ways all the time, where, because he's like, as you know, these girls be going out getting pregnant from these other guys, and then they just cover it up and they never tell the kid. So this is the kind of stuff of what I'm saying with the Jackson's house, and so there's ways of which it happens. There's ways that the woman messes around and gets pregnant and then they cover it up. There's ways like that. But there's other ways that there's a child from another family that needs to be given away because there's a young girl that got pregnant. Like I'm saying, Diana Ross was 14 years old when she gave birth to Michael Jackson. So another part of this kind of story, the context of what he was saying, where he's saying it's common, he's saying, are you sure? Are you sure that, you know what I'm saying? He asked her, are you sure? Just the fact that he even asked her totally validates my asking of these questions. And this is the kind of stuff of where the Michael Jackson community, it's like, you people just need to understand, me asking of these questions are totally valid. And now, if I didn't find the evidence to back it up, well, then my story would never have flourished and stuff, right? And it never would have gotten to the point of where it's at now, where I'm explaining Michael Jackson songs, where I've named Diana Ross as Billie Jean. My story was never true, none of that information wouldn't have been there. And we got mounds and piles and piles and piles of information which only can exist if my story's true, right? So like I say, the one way she's talking about, like the mother covering up the pregnancy that she got from another guy, and then just saying it's that the child is the child of her husband and stuff, like those are common things. But other things that are common are these young girls that got pregnant and they abandoned the child. That was another common occurrence of things that happened, and that's what I'm saying happened to Michael. That Diana Ross was only 14, Smokey Robinson's 18. Like I said, you look at the actual pattern of events of what's happening is that Berry Gordy has just met Smokey Robinson, just started to work with him, and they're just in the development stages of Motown Records. They're just in the development stages. That's when Diana Ross got pregnant. That was also why she gave the baby away, because she didn't want to hinder Smokey and Berry Gordy's ability from building Motown Records. And then this is why Diana goes right into Motown. As soon as she's like 18, she's signed to Motown, and then she goes in there singing the song, I want my baby, there goes my baby. That's the song she's singing and stuff, right? And actually, because I had seen a thing too with the Primettes. I think it was a Mary Wilson thing, probably a Mary Wilson interview, and she was talking about the first songs that they had learned to sing when they got into the Primettes, because the Primettes is it's right after Diana would have given birth to Michael and given him away. Then you see that the Primettes gets formed like right after that. And Mary Wilson was talking about these songs that they were singing, and she said Diana was singing There goes my baby, I want my baby. So Mary Wilson said Diana was singing that song in the Primettes. That's what I'm saying is like how important those words must have been for Diana, because she had just given away her child. And then so she started singing that song. She wanted to learn how to sing that song. And when she goes to do the audition at Motown, that's the song that she's singing. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I didn't make this stuff up. That stuff is just proven, documented facts that exist out there and stuff, right? So it's one of these things is like, once I start making these videos, I just start rambling because I've got so much other information that relates to this stuff, so much stuff, right? But so I wanted to show that part to show you that it's so common for these occurrences to have occurred for either a mother to have a child out of wedlock of her husband and then just to raise the child like that it is the child of both the parents. And the other thing that happens is that these girls that were young were they gave their children away and they abandoned the children and stuff. Those are very common occurrences of things that have happened in the world. Right where he's asked right instantly, he's like, oh, okay, sure. Oh, you got all the talent, but the rest of them don't. He's like, okay. And he starts laughing. Did you hear him laughing? Saying, oh, shoot, are you really? Are those really your... Because he knows the real world. That's how the real world is. It's a good percentage chance that maybe she's not actually the child of the same parents and stuff. Because the dude is laughing at her right to her face, saying, are you sure? Are you sure? He's like, come on, I've been around. I don't just buy these stories like that. But you guys have all bought it from the Jackson thing. And you guys are not, and it's like, dude, why am I not allowed to ask these questions? And look at, when I've done the investigation, haven't I gone and found the video of Diana Ross on the Arsenio Hall show in 1991 when she's talking about her first love, and she places it exactly at the exact moment of time of where she would have got pregnant and abandoned Michael. That moment of time, she pins it down. She tells you she was in love with Smokey. She explains how she was sleeping in Smokey's house because she was best friends with Smokey Robinson's niece, Sharon Burstyn. Like, I know Sharon Burstyn's name because of that interview. I know that Diana was sleeping in Smokey Robinson's house at the moment of time of where she would have gotten pregnant. And she was in love with Smokey. But you don't think that those things are important? Those aren't key. And why is Diana Ross speaking about being in love with Smokey when she's 13 years old? And she's talking about, I was in love with Smokey and I'm sleeping in his house. Oh my God. And then the fans just say, oh, well, what's that? That ain't nothing. Oh, you didn't find I didn't find anything? That's not a direct a confession by Diana that she's in love with Smokey Robinson, sleeping in his house at the exact moment of time of where Michael Jackson gets conceived. She pins down the dates because she tells you it's before Motown. And she said it was right when Smokey started making his first record. When she says, I heard Smokey's record on the radio, the first one. That's the one that he made because he just met Berry Gordy. That's right. The record being played on the radio is about 2 months after Michael would have been conceived. But it was 2 months after Smokey met Berry Gordy. That's when Diana had sex with them. It happened. It happened. And she gave him away, just like I said, it's a common thing where now, and that's why Michael's got all the talent and the rest of the Jacksons don't. And you people think that Michael looks like the Jacksons because you saw it that way for all of Michael Jackson's life. So say 40 years, say from when he's 10 to 50, right? We'll say it that way, basically. It's like 40 years that they're heavily publicized in the media. And they keep telling you, how many times have you heard in the media the Michael, like I said, they even pushed it so much that they looked like that people were saying Michael and Janet are twins and shit, right? And then they did that thing where Michael and Janet stood on stage together and said, look here, we're not the same person and shit, right? But then you go to the video of Leave Me Alone, and Michael is throwing down the gossip magazines, and in that video, the gossip magazine, it says Michael and Diana, same person. So why would Michael Jackson invoke that image when he knows that was when Michael's talking about don't believe the gossip rags, don't believe the gossip rags, and he knew it was a kind of a gossip rag kind of story that they were saying with him and Janet, right? He had lived through that stuff, but then he invokes that same freaking thing on a gossip rag in the Leave Me Alone, and he does it with Diana. But who does he do it with? He does it with Diana Ross. Michael and Diana, same person. Like I'm saying, just come on. When are you people gonna wake up and say, there's real hardcore evidence to this stuff, and it's just over and over, and if you actually start looking at what's going on, you'll see that it doesn't make sense under the context of Michael being part of the Jackson family. It doesn't make sense anymore. It was a lie, right? So now, this is the actual this was the clip I wanted to. This was the clip I wanted to show you again. The clip I was looking for originally.
At some point with Michael Jackson, what was that like? Working with Michael Jackson.
I dated Michael Jackson.
Oh my God!
I never worked with Michael Jackson. I dated him, but that was back in the 70s and 80s when people didn't kiss and tell.
Okay, so now she invokes this. Now she's older and stuff here, so I'm assuming that this is after the Michael Jackson interview with Oprah. See, that's the thing now that I just thought about that, I was like, oh, I'd have to double check to verify that this is after that interview, because I'm going to use something to link that up to saying with this. But now that I think about it, it's like, well, I didn't verify. But she is older. I'm assuming that this is after that's occurred. You know, because that's in the early 90s and stuff. And she spoke about like the 70s and 80s being back in the past. I think that's why I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about it in my head because she spoke about it that way. That was the 70s and 80s. So in Michael Jackson's Oprah interview is in the early 90s. So I'm going to take it on good faith that this interview here when she's speaking has taken place after that Michael Jackson interview with the Oprah, right? And what does she say? She says, oh, well, that's back in the 70s and 80s when people didn't kiss and tell. Oh, but you really quickly jumped out there and said, oh, I dated Michael Jackson. Everybody's already going to assume if you say you're dating Michael Jackson, people are just going to infer that you're having sex with them. People are just going to make those assumptions and stuff, right? She didn't come out and say, yeah, I dated Michael Jackson, but we were still young and we didn't have a serious love relationship. No, she doesn't say that. She says that's when people didn't kiss and tell, which means that she's like alluding to the fact that her and Michael did have sex. She's just not going to kiss and tell about it and stuff, right? You see, it's very deceptive. That's what I'm saying. You've got to analyze this stuff on serious levels. You got to talk it through. Say, what is actually taking place? How does this line up with this? All of this stuff. And if you don't do it that way, then you will just take everything at face value and you'll never have any understanding of the in-depth true story that's actually taking place, the underlying issues and the stories that are actually right there that you people are missing and stuff, right? But so I wanted to point this out to you because, like I said, she uses that line because the thing is, I say that Michael's a virgin. Michael didn't have sex with her. Now, I've heard people mention her name when I talk about Michael being a virgin. I've heard people say Stephanie Mills. So that's one thing. I was looking for the stuff to see if I could ever find her actually saying that she had sex. But she might have said, like, it might have been like a thing like her, like that Shayna Mangatol. Same kind of thing where they say, oh, well, I had sex with Michael one time. So maybe they'll come out and say that. And it's like, shut the fuck up. You lying bitches. Fucking stealing from Michael Jackson. You fucking scum. You're linking on to his fame and stuff. You're trying to bring yourself, even with her, with having a career and stuff, she's nowhere near in the, like, relevancy of the frickin' human, the population that would see her and be like, oh, like very few people would know who she is, right? But everybody around the world knows who Michael Jackson is. But her would be you're talking about not even 1% of the people who know Michael Jackson. It would be less than a 1%, you know? It'd be like 1/10%. You know, so that's like 1 in 1,000. 1 in every 1,000 people who know Michael Jackson would know her. You know, it's totally different. And so these people, they want to link their name. They know it keeps their name in the spotlight, keeping her name connected to Michael Jackson. I dated him. So that makes people want to do interviews with her. People want to talk with her. And she doesn't want, she wants to do stuff. She doesn't want to sit around her house being bored all the time. She's like, why isn't anybody calling me? Why does anybody want to talk to me and shit, right? And then she's like, don't forget, I dated Michael Jackson. And then people are like, oh, you did? Well, come on in for an interview. Let's talk and shit, right? So it's like, there's just so much reasons why these people do that. So that's what I'm saying. The reason she says that is, okay, so I got these pieces. So the reason that she says that is, the people, they didn't kiss and tell, is because that's what Michael says here after Oprah asked him he's a virgin. This is another thing, is that, there's videos people I don't watch, but there's that, there's some videos I really don't watch most of the people's videos because they're garbage and shit, right? They're just attacking. Those people it's horrible. It's junk videos and stuff, right? But so, I'm not even mention the person's name because the person is evil and shit, right? But this person the other day made a video talking about Wade. She was making a video saying, I think it was about Dan Reed and Oprah were attacking the new Michael Jackson, the biopic that's coming out, and they were attacking it, saying, how can you make a biopic about the guy who molested children and stuff, right? So there's people fighting back about the picture coming out when they're saying, well, Michael's been proven as a pedophile now and shit, right? There's been stuff like that. And so this is the thing, is like, Oprah asked Michael Jackson a direct question right here. She asked him, are you a virgin, right? And Michael didn't answer it. And he gave her bullshit answers. Okay, so at that time, what's Oprah Winfrey supposed to conclude about what happened here? You know, is she one of the things that she knows he's a virgin. She's thinking he's a virgin, but it's so hard for people to accept the fact that Michael Jackson could be a virgin. Right? It's very difficult. People are they're not accepting of that. That's what I'm saying. They're willing to accept Michael Jackson being a pedophile more than they're willing to accept that he's a virgin. Right? We're in a weird world. Why is that? This guy who was raised as a serious Jehovah's Witness and stuff, right? And then he's you'd see though with his brothers, everybody knows there's no possible way if the brother stuff, that's the thing. They're like, no way with the brothers and on tour, there's no way he didn't have sex and stuff, right? Plus he's got the song Billie Jean, which what they think it's all about. So people are nobody's believing that he could be a virgin. Nobody believes that. So even when Oprah knows that he's showing all of the characteristics of being a virgin, so she even asks him the question and he can't answer it. So at that time, now it's like, I don't like there's things that Oprah did because Oprah did the interview after Leaving Neverland. The people, if you don't remember exactly what happened, is they did the Leaving Neverland was like for 2 days, I think it was 2 nights they showed it, and then that was like Saturday, Sunday, I think it was, and then the Monday night, Oprah came out the next night with, she had James Safechuck and Wade Robson on her show, and it was called After Neverland, right? So Oprah did that, and Oprah was just like full on bashing Michael. It was hardcore. Her attack against Michael was vicious, right? And I don't like what she did. What she did was wrong. There was a lot of mistakes of what she did was really dirty, dastardly stuff. But I have to cover for Oprah on one thing, is that she directly, right here, asked Michael to his face, are you a virgin? And Michael lied to her, right? So at that point, if Michael lied to her about that, then she's allowed to start thinking on her own, well, what's going on here? And like I said, people can't accept him being of the virgin, so what she does is she transfers that. What she saw is the truth, is that he was a virgin, but she couldn't believe that, and then she saw him hanging out with all the children and stuff, so then it was just an easy transition to say, oh, well, you're doing with the kids. See, now she could believe that, because then she left the virgin thing, which was the truth. The truth was the virgin, but she had no understanding for how he could be a virgin, which is the understanding is that he was an abandoned child, and Diana tells him the truth when he goes to Motown, so like 10 and 11 years old, I would say, like right around that time, is when he finds out the truth, which is before the time of where he would have been developed into his natural sexuality. It's right before that time he finds out he's an abandoned child, which now that separates him from the Jackson brothers. Now he's learned that he was a love child that happened and was given away. So he learns that by having sex like that you can end up having to destroy another kid's life, that he can be abandoned and stuff. And then he doesn't want to be a father of some child out there that's not his. He doesn't want to have to deal with all that stuff. This is the truth of how Michael formed his life, where he became a virgin and stuff, right? All that time. And so so that's what I'm saying. You have to explain all of this stuff, which I don't have a problem doing. It just takes time. You know, that's the problem. It takes a lot of time.
I'm going to ask you this, and it's embarrassing for me to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Are you a virgin?
How could you ask me that question?
I just want to know. I want to know.
I'm a gentleman.
You're a gentleman.
I'm a gentleman.
So
I'm a gentleman.
So, okay, I would interpret that to mean that means that you believe that a lady is a lady, and therefore...
That's something that's private. I mean, you know, shouldn't be spoken about openly.
Okay, so just that's enough like that. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why the Stephanie Mills says it in that interview. She says, I dated Michael, but that's in that time back in the 70s and 80s before people didn't kiss and tell. It's like, what are you talking about? The 70s, that's right after the 60s and the free love era where people were walking around naked, having sex with everybody, drugging and stuff. Then you went into the 70s. That's when they implemented cocaine came into the picture. They were fucking like crazy in the 70s. That's when all the porn movies, you're a porn star from the 70s. That's like the way you talk about porn when you talk about old porn stars. You talk about porn stars from the 70s and shit. Because that's where it was really big and stuff. So it's so fucking stupid for people to be, for Stephanie to make that statement. That was the 70s, before people were, what are you talking about? Shut the fuck up. These lies that people tell. So right there, it's like, look at, Oprah asked Michael a direct question. He did not answer. So then Oprah starts, well, I'm going to take that as that I got to infer that this is what you mean. See how now Oprah is trying to have to explain for what Michael just said because he refused to answer the question. He did that to her, which enabled Oprah. That validates Oprah then to make any judgment she wants of him up until the point where she accuses him of being a pedophile. That was all caused by this part right here. Michael Jackson caused it himself because he lied. He lied his fucking ass off because he couldn't tell the truth of that he was a virgin. And he doesn't want to tell you he's a virgin. He doesn't have to want to explain all that stuff because that leads back to him being an abandoned child. And nobody could ever understand why he's a virgin because nobody could understand that he's an abandoned child, that he's not a Jackson, that was the whole issue the whole time. And it's all, I can explain all of this stuff. It's ridiculous that people are afraid to deal with reality. And you have the nerve to call yourself Michael Jackson fans. You have to stand up for Michael Jackson in hell or high water. It doesn't matter like what's going on. If something comes up and you think it makes him look bad, you have to stand up for him. But you can't promote shit that is not acceptable. That's what the fans do. They say, the fans don't stick up for Michael Jackson. The fans just are accepting of any negative thing that Michael Jackson did that was wrong. Right here, he lied his fucking ass off. He lied to everybody. And then he throws Brooke Shields under the bus and starts invoking her names. Well, I dated Brooke Shields and shit. We did, and then Brooke Shields is like in a serious relationship with the Dean Cain at this exact time. She's now come out and said, yeah, I was watching that and I was dating Dean Cain when this happened. And Brooke's like, what? We don't dating at all. We didn't, and she never had any. She's totally confessed to say that she never had any sexual relationship with. She's now said that stuff. That's out in the open now. That has come out. So you people that are saying you don't know what the fuck is going on. Michael's lying his ass off. You have to get to the point and say, why did he lie his ass off? What was the big deal about this stuff? Because anybody who's not a virgin when he's like 35 and shit, come on. If you're not a virgin, you don't have to say the people's names. You just laugh and be like, you answer the question. Are you a virgin? Oprah, I'm not a virgin. I'm a rock star, okay? I just don't want to talk about things because it brings too much attention to these other people because I am such a big star. It brings a lot of unwanted attention to these people, so I don't talk about it. End of story. Shut it down. Boom, cold, flat, with the honest truth. But that's not what the fuck happened. Because he couldn't answer this fucking question, it enabled people to be calling him pedophiles and be looking at him that way because he couldn't answer the fucking simple question. If he would have answered the fucking question, then we'd have an answer. He didn't. Why didn't he answer it? How come he couldn't answer it? The Michael Jackson being of the Jackson family does not answer this question. It does not answer. And then because it doesn't answer it, the people start saying the pedophile stuff. Because that's the only thing of where they can go to next. Because the only answer left for anybody, if you think Michael's a Jackson, if you don't have the knowledge that he was abandoned as a child, that he's got that life situation, if you don't have that knowledge, the only place for you to go is that he's a fucking pedophile. Because he couldn't even answer this question. A 35-year-old man, are you a virgin? She asked him a direct fucking question. He came on this interview with Oprah saying, you can ask me anything you want. I'm not going to tell you, I'm open book. Ask me whatever you want. She asked him a direct question that he should be able to answer as a 35-year-old fucking man. And he couldn't answer it. You people don't think that this shit matters. It fucking matters. Right? So now, getting back into the Stephanie Mills thing. Like I was saying, that's what she had said there about, the 70s, people didn't kiss and tell. It's bullshit. Now, in this movie, this is a movie called Inside Deep, or this is a trailer for a documentary they did about a porn movie in the 70s that was called Deep Throat. And so the Deep Throat movie, the storyline of that is that the girl's clitoris, which is like the thing that gets her sexually aroused and stuff, right? So just talking, you know, that's, I don't know how you dance around that. But there was, the storyline of the movie was that her clitoris, instead of being on her vagina, it was in her throat. Right? So in order for her to have orgasms, she had to deep throat, like perform oral sex on a man and have him, like she's giving him a blowjob type of thing, right? But that would get her off because her clitoris was in her throat. So that's why she's deep throating the guys. That's the storyline of Deep Throat, right? If you people don't know what it is, right? But Deep Throat was this big phenomenon of a movie, but it was a porn movie. It was hardcore porn, but it was getting famous people to go see it. Now, what I was looking for was Jacqueline Onassis. So Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, so the wife of John Kennedy, that when John Kennedy got assassinated and Jackie O's right there, and she starts to climb out of the limo and shit. That's Jackie Kennedy, right? John Kennedy's wife, the one that was sitting right next to him and his head got fucking blown off and shit, right? So Jackie Kennedy, I'd seen this documentary before about Deep Throat, and they were talking about famous people going to see this movie in the movie theater. And one of the people that they showed was Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, right? They had shown her, and I was going to look for that part, but that was the thing. It was going to take me too long to find it. So I just pulled this up to show you a little pieces of this, then I'm going to show you something else too and stuff, why it's more important. Let me play you a little piece of this. This is the trailer from the documentary called Inside Deep Throat.
I liked it. I wanted to see a dirty picture, and that's what I saw. I don't want somebody telling me that I can't see a dirty picture.
You would see movie stars there. You would see society people there. The next week.
Okay, so he said, you'd see what I'm saying? You'd see movie stars there. You'd see society people there. This was different, right? This is the 70s. When Stephanie Mills saying, oh, this is the 70s. We didn't kiss and tell. We didn't talk about it then. It's like, what are you talking about? We're talking about the 70s with cocaine and porn movies and Deep Throat. That you had famous people going to see that movie in the theater, the porn. They're going to see porn. Like, imagine going to see a porn movie in the movie theater. Like, that's like hardcore. It's not like, it's like, okay, yeah, if you're in Hollywood and shit, right? And if you're like West Hollywood, some dingy freaking theater where you're going to watch a porn movie, but in reality, next thing you know, you're in the bathroom with some dude, some gay men are in there. They do it, it's like gay clubs and shit. That was like the early days before there was gay clubs. There was these porn theaters and shit, right? And gay men would go there, and then they'd watch the thing, and somebody go to the bathroom, and the next thing, and the gay dude follow them in there, and then they'd go have sex in there and stuff. Like, all kinds of weird shit fucking going on. And so when the people are talking about like the 70s, like we're talking about like the 50s and shit, right? It's like, come on. The 50s has that image of the girl with her skirt. What's those poodle skirts or whatever they're called and shit? They got their poodle skirts and their pearls on and shit, right? It's like that's like the 50s you're talking about, where you can invoke that kind of shit. Not the fucking 70s. Where you say, we don't even kiss and tell in the 70s. What are you talking about? The fucking 70s, man. Deep Throat and shit. Cocaine and shit, right? And so, I want to show you this other part. So this is the video called Inside Michael Jackson's Memory Room. And this is, Jermaine Jackson is showing all of these photos, which in there, it's like there's a lot of cool stuff, right? But I just wanted to show you really quick let me show you this part, because where we're talking about Jacqueline Onassis, Kennedy and shit, right? So here, let me show you this little part right here.
Jackie Kennedy. Sophia Loren.
So there's Michael with Jacqueline Onassis Kennedy. And he's got his Thriller jacket on, so that shows you the era of which this is taking place, because Jacqueline Onassis Kennedy, she wrote the foreword. I believe that's the way you speak about the foreword for the book Moonwalk. She might have done some editing on it, but she worked at that Doubleday, because that's a thing in the Seinfeld. There's a Seinfeld episode where Elaine is going to go try and get a job at the publishing company for Doubleday. And remember, and if you people know this, it's like she's trying to get Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis job. She said, this was the old job of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. She said, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, she makes a joke. But that's it. They do that. They even do that it's so known that she worked there and stuff, right? That it was even in the Seinfeld and shit, right? And I'm pretty sure that she did, I think what they call the forward, or she edited Michael Jackson's book Moonwalk. She worked on that book, but that's after, this is Thriller, so that book came out after Thriller, so it's showing you that Michael's friends with her, like society people. Like I said, when it said movie stars and society people would go see Deep Throat, so these are high society, you know, Michael's hanging around with movie stars and high society people, stuff like that, right? And so I wanted to point you out that, so Michael's hanging out with, and then Michael, if you go back to the Studio 54, which Studio 54, go watch a movie, there's a movie called 54 or something like that. It's all about drugs and sex, like the whole thing, and homosexual sex, like crazy partying at the highest level, the Studio 54. Michael's favorite, go watch the interviews about Michael in Studio 54. And he's saying, this is my favorite club in the whole world. I've been to clubs all over the world. This is my favorite club in the whole fucking world. And you people like the stuff about how you talk about Michael Jackson, it's like, it's so fake and shit. It's so far from the reality of who this guy actually was, the life he actually lived. And so you guys want to create some kind of fantasy stuff. So it's like Teresa over there, did you see that AI robot, what it said to Teresa? Because Teresa's gotten her name, Teresa loves Michael Jackson. So Teresa's asking the AI robot about Michael Jackson. The next thing you know, the AI robot's in bed next to her talking about, he's in bed, he wants to, it was like, what the hell's that shit, right? That's such funny fucking shit, right? But what did it do? It instantly took it to a sexual thing. It instantly, even the robot knows she wants to have sex with Michael Jackson. Let's take it to the bed and shit, right? I mean, this stuff is just so funny and so crazy and shit, right? But it's like, come on, get in the real world, people. This is real world. Michael Jackson lived in the real world. You people think he was so isolated and innocent and he didn't have any experiences and stuff. And the people that he hung around with would have had crazy experiences. You don't think Michael, like I said, he's hanging out in Studio 54. Here he is with Kennedy, but with Jackie O. But look at how nice and proper she looks, right? But like I said, you go back to that Deep Throat stuff, what you find out is that you find out Jackie Kennedy went to see that movie in the theater. Because it's like, so how in this, she reminds me of the lady it showed there when she's saying, if I want to go see a dirty movie, I'm going to go see a dirty movie. You got this little old gray hair lady with all the pearls on talking about, yeah, I liked it. It was a good porno. I liked it. I want to go see me a dirty movie. It's real world. I don't know why you people are so afraid of the fucking real world and shit, right? All right, so I gotta go. I got fucking work to do. Fucking talk to you guys later. Bye.